Wake that ass up.
Early in the morning.
The Breakfast Club.
Morning, everybody. It's DJ NV Angela Yee, Charlamagne the Guy. We are the Breakfast Club. We got a special guest on the line, Dr. Natasha Sandy. What's up, Doc?
That's right.
Hey, good morning, everyone. Bright and
What up,
early.
Doc? Doc is my personal dermatologist. You know what I'm saying? You wonder why my skin looks so flawless, even during the quarantine.
Why you can do nothing with his hair, Doc? Like Charlamagne, put your hood back right fast.
She did do something with my hair. Tell him what we tried to do, Doc.
I tried. I was doing something called PRP with him, which is protein rich plasma, and you take the blood, you centrifuge it, you spin it, you separate the red blood cells from the plasma, and you get growth factor and anti-inflammatory cells, which help with inhibit inflammation and help the growth. But Charlamagne punked out halfway between the treatment. He said it hurt.
I'll tell you why. I mean, because listen, she gassed me up to do the PRP, and then you got to get the needle shots in your head. And in my mind, I'm like, I'm comfortable being bald headed. I don't give a damn about a headline. Why am I doing this?
Well, no. I did not gas you up. You saw someone doing it, and then you decided to do it. Is that not true?
You've been telling me this thing for years. You was like, yo, you should try PRP. Try PRP.
I was about it for years. But where were you when you decided, you know what, I'm going to do it?
He probably
Sitting
seen
in your
my
office.
hair. He probably seen my hair, and
And
he seen how good my hair
looked.
looked.
Getting the treatment?
I forgot who was getting the treatment.
Let me see, Envy.
No, my hair. Nah, this ain't no treatment. This is real. This is real.
That's definitely
real
PRP.
hair. This is not no damn PRP. This is real hair. The hair.
So it's like a blood transfusion to get your hair back?
It's a little thin on the edges. We take so in our blood we have like 7 growth factors, right? And so you separate the growth factor from your blood cells, and then you inject it into the scalp. They use it all the time. They've used it for athletes for like knee injuries. Actually, Kobe did it when he had the injury. They use it in orthopedics. They use it on the face. But the first most common place is used in orthopedics. They use it for nerve injuries and stuff like that.
Yeah, people do it for erections.
Come in next. Yep, they do it for we call the O spot. So you do it vaginally to stimulate and help your G spot in women, and in guys you can do it penile also to help heighten their sexual experience.
You know a lot about this, Charlamagne.
Why you look up when she said penile, and as soon as she said penile, you looked up from your phone.
You know a lot about this, Charlamagne. Now,
I pay attention when I'm in the office.
Now, let's talk about this coronavirus and what's going on and how it's affecting our community and the steps that we can take to better protect ourselves.
Well, I mean, look, so the numbers are actually quite surprising. For example, in Michigan, the U.S., African Americans make up like 20% of the population. And the numbers they have there are 40%, literally half of the people that are getting diagnosed with coronavirus are people of color. And so the question is, because a lot of people are saying, conspiracy theory, it's intentional, and which is understandable because of the historical ramifications and this sort of health and the Tuskegee experiments where African Americans were intentionally given syphilis and believed that they were getting treatment. So people are very suspicious. But truly, what's really happening here is a number of things. So one of the things is that in African Americans, there are some health disparities, right? And when we mean health disparities, there are larger numbers of certain diseases in our population versus others. So there's a large number of patients with hypertension, with diabetes, with high cholesterol, with obesity. We also have sickle cell we've got to think about, and asthma. And these things make us immune compromised. We have increased inflammatory process in our body. And as a consequence, that makes us at more risk for the coronavirus. Of the disparities that the highest are, you see mostly in patients with hypertension, and that's the largest number of comorbidities. We call it comorbidities. that people with COVID virus and have a comorbidity, hypertension is the highest percentage. And then another one in younger populations is obesity. Right? So that's one of the reasons why you have these large numbers. The other reason, I think, within that, a lot of us don't go and have access. A lot of people don't have access to healthcare or great access to healthcare. So as a consequence, they may not even realize that they have these comorbidities happening. And as such, we don't find out until they come down with the COVID virus. A lot of young guys or who appear healthy say, I'm busy working. I don't have time to go to the doctor's appointment. I don't have time to go. I'm feeling good. And often they have hypertension and they don't even realize. Another thing is really culturally, right? So we socialize a lot differently. We spend a lot of time with our family in a certain way. Even if we have grandmothers, aunts, uncles, we spend a lot of time going to visit them. Even if we don't spend a lot of time with them, we may stop by. We may send our children to, hey, go give these groceries to grandma. Go by and see auntie this, auntie that. We socialize in church a lot, okay? Barbecues, barbershops, right? We engage in barbershops. That's a regular thing for a lot of people. A lot of guys, once a week, they're going to barbershops, sometimes twice. A lot of women, we go to the hairdresser once or twice a week, and we spend hours in there. So those socializing made us at greater risk for contracting the COVID disease because of it being so infectious and contagious.
Yeah, that's what happened in Italy. Italy has a community of, the way they socialize is, big dinners and, always being around each other, hugging, kissing each other. That's why it spread like that in Italy.
Right. And we do greet each other, butt hugging, kissing, giving each other a pound, So
You said butt hugging.
Hugging.
That's what he wanted to hear. That's what he wanted to hear.
Oh, I was like, what the hell is butt
hugging? That's what he wanted to hear. See that?
Jesus Christ.
That sounds like, a personal thing. But anyway, hugging, giving each other a pound, you know what I'm saying? The dude hug.
Yeah.
The half hug, yeah.
Hug.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. What do you guys call it?
I call it the half hug.
The half hug. So that's common, right? So I even do that with my patients. You know what I mean? So those are things. Those are some of the things that increase the likelihood in our community. Some people say it's because we live in areas where we live closer to each other in urban areas, which yes, if you're in commuting cities where you commute, maybe if you live in row houses and you live closer to each other, you're walking communities, that is a factor. However, the same increased numbers are seen in the South. And with gentrification, we see all populations in the cities, but the numbers are not increased for them. And so really, it's those things, it's those comorbidities, it's the socializing. And also, they found that of those that are diagnosed with the COVID virus and that go into hospitals, the outcomes for us are worse. And there's something else to consider, which is what we call implicit bias, which is we're talking about how people in the health profession, doctors, nurses, will treat or perceive complaints or concerns from people of color. And you may have heard this conversation with a lot of women. Actually, Serena Williams spoke about that with her experience when she was delivering her baby and she got the blood clot, and she was explaining to the doctor her concerns, and they were sort of like dismissing it. That is a common thing that is observed in the healthcare, which is something that it requires ongoing and continuous education, but it's something to consider as to why also the outcomes are worse. Not only are we coming in with comorbidities, not only are we coming later, but also the perception of us and our complaints by healthcare professionals create this implicit bias, which means that sometimes we are not served to the optimum ability or the way we should be. So those are like the reasons why.
Let me ask you a question, Doc. We know that it's affecting the Black community in a very negative way. We know all of the reasons that it's happening. What are the solutions? Like other than, reversing systemic racism, which is always going to be a constant fight. What are the solutions right now to get it down in our communities?
Well, the big thing is really, social distancing is really important. And I'm going to really explain to people, I'll do a demo if we have time, of why social distancing is important. Because we have the issue of it's explaining the importance of herd immunity, because we're not trying to get more people with the disease, but if they are, we're trying to optimize make sure that there's immunity in a larger population so that fewer people can get sick. But that social distancing is really important. I'm still seeing people driving with each other, and I'm seeing people socializing in a way. Even on Instagram, you see people and you're like, how is that person in that? I know they don't live with each other. And not just to think because they're family and that you've been with them that you've seen them 2 weeks ago and you guys are fine, that you should still socialize them. If they're not in your household, you should not socialize with them. And even if there are people in your household, if there's one person, delegate the person that's going to go and get groceries and go to the stores and things like that, and make that person take additional precautions when they're out and when they're in the home to alleviate and even social distance from that person that is out a lot. I know we believe that the incubation period is 14 days, but there has been studies that show that even beyond the 14 days, some people are still shedding the virus. And the thought of people of asymptomatic there's a change with the infectious disease society, that instead of thinking people as asymptomatic, we're thinking of pre-symptomatic. And the really thing is to consider everyone a potential carrier of the virus. And that's the important thing. So the social distance is one thing. And again, if you've got time, I'll show you why this herd immunity is important. And if you guys know what that means, do you guys understand about the herd immunity concept?
No, show
What's
us.
that?
Okay, so I'm going to just give you an example, right? Really quick, okay? Because I think people are confused as to why they need to do this, why they need to stay away from each other. And if I can flip this camera, can this camera flip? Let's hope this is good. So let these apples represent people that are not infected with the coronavirus, okay?
Not
So you've
affected,
got these
okay.
people, they're unaffected, they're chilling, right? They're minding their business, okay? And here comes somebody that is affected with the coronavirus, okay?
Why you gotta be light-skinned
lemon.
now? Why you gotta be
lemon
light-skinned
ass
though?
nigga.
Lemon,
sour ass.
So the lemon has the virus, okay? And now these people are all affected, right? So these people are exposed, right? Now, yeah, there's fewer people. These people are exposed, but these people over here are fine. But the numbers increase. More people are getting infected, okay? Right? More people are infected. But we don't know that these people are infected, right? So you're still hanging around these people, okay? So we're all in the mix. These lemons are all in the mix. So essentially, almost all of these people could potentially be infected. All right, so this lemon's infected. This person now, right, is infected. Remove them. Now we've got more numbers. Got it?
So that one died.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
So, right, they're infected. This person, they're not dead.
Why'd you
They're
kill one,
changing them.
Envy?
The lemon becomes infected, right? The lemon is the infected person. This is uninfected. Now they're infected. Okay, so this means that there's a lot more likelihood that these apples can become lemons. Get it?
Yep.
You with me? Okay. So this person decides to social distance, even though they're infected. Now they social distance and they build antibodies. What does antibodies mean? It means they're no longer actively carrying the virus. So they're not necessarily going to be infectious, but they're immune. Okay. So we've got one person that's immune. Okay.
What's that?
And now
That's an immune person.
Great. It's great. This is a grapefruit. The grapefruit is immune. You understand? So now
Yep.
they're immune and they're not infected. Okay. This person is immune and not infected. So now, what's the likelihood of these people being exposed to these people that are infected? Less, right? Because there's more immunity. You got it?
Yep.
Are you
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Now, let's say the vaccine now develops. Let's say they develop the vaccine. Okay, boom. This one gets vaccinated. This one gets vaccinated. Immunity. So now what we've developed is what we call largely a herd immunity. We still have this one person that can get infected, but guess where they are? They're so far away from the uninfected individuals that now the likelihood of infectious and the contagiousness of the disease is diminished. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's what happens with herd immunity through vaccines, right? But also if people get infected. Now, we don't really want more people to get infected, because also the larger number of people get infected, the more likelihood you've got deaths, because the percentage of deaths are going to increase. But if you social distance from these people that you may or may not be infected, but you don't know, you're allowing time for them to, one, those that are infected to become immune, and then you can be around them. But also, you're allowing time for a vaccine to be developed, right, to protect you if you are around somebody that is immune, that has immunity, right? You get it? And also, this is why testing is important.
Envy, reset.
If you test,
Go ahead.
are we here? Also,
Yeah, go ahead.
if we test, we know this person's immune, it's okay to be next to someone that's not infected. This person is not immune, they're positive, we don't want this person, we don't want this lemon near the people that are uninfected. You understand? So this is the
We
benefit
do.
of herd immunity, but also this is the importance of getting the testing.
Now, Doc.
I know one thing. When you went to the grocery store, clearly your grocery store ain't got no limitation on how much stuff you can buy. Because you got more than 2 lemons, more than 2 grapefruits, more than 2 apples.
Well, listen, the interesting thing is, which brings me to the point of, what to do. I am a very clean eater, and I shop in Whole Foods. And let me tell you, Whole Foods is, it's not as packed as it normally is, but about 80% of the shelves are full. And one thing, if you go into any grocery store, which is quite interesting, but one thing that they're not out of are vegetables, which goes to show you that people are not, even at this time, they're not listening or heeding the recommendations to eat as healthy as possible. So, of course, that would mean your green leafy vegetables, you want to use your fruits. Organic is preferable if you can afford it, but you want to do anything that's going to put you in the best physical condition and build your immunity. Eating a lot of those processed foods that causes glycosylation and inflammation in the body is further muting your immune system and making you more susceptible to or decreased ability to fight the virus when it comes in, if you expose to it and you become infected.
I was going to ask, so people that have the coronavirus or that had it, that probably didn't know, that just thought it was the flu and it went through their system, how can we find out who has had it before? Because everybody, I would say not everybody, but between January and February, everybody came down with that bad flu, could barely breathe, and we didn't think anything of it. But, how do we know if those people had it or not? Can we test now for that?
Yeah, so just to explain, so what happens is with any disease, you have these things called IgEs, which are antibodies, right, in our body. And when you're first exposed to something, you have these IgGs called IgM. So you've got IgM. So this is acute. Like, I'm infected, it comes. It's like, okay, it's like soldiers. So they're the first soldiers, the frontline soldiers that will come when you get exposed, right? And then the back-end soldiers, right, IgGs start to come along. So they're coming the back to further support the guys on the front line. Do you understand what I mean? You guys follow me?
Yep.
So
Yes.
So
My daughter just scared the shit out of me.
So what's available now is a test for the antibodies. They test for the frontline soldiers, the IgM, and the IgG, the ones that come later. So that's one of the best tests. The test is still new, and the test gives you a gauge of whether you've been exposed to the coronavirus now, or the SARS virus, which stands for severe acute respiratory disease, right? Syndrome. So what happens is So what happens is with the current test, it will let you know that you've been exposed to the coronavirus. Now, because the test is early, it may not be definitive that is the COVID virus, but you have been exposed to the coronavirus. So what happens is, if yes, we know, okay, the person's positive, they've been exposed to the coronavirus. If the symptoms are consistent, or they express that they had symptoms consistent with COVID, then we know it was COVID. But if they haven't, we're presumptive that they have been exposed to COVID-19, but there's one additional test afterwards that will clearly let you know whether it was the the coronavirus that causes COVID-19. So as of now, yes, there is this antibody test, but again, it knows that you know that you are exposed to the coronavirus, not necessarily specific the COVID virus.
Gotcha.
Do you think it could be more than one virus? You think it could be more than one virus? Because I see some people just get like the flu thing, and then other people are just like out of here.
Well, I think it's two things. I think one is because everyone has different immunity. Everyone's body is able to fight the disease to a certain degree. So for some people, their body is able to fight the virus, and as such, it doesn't go to their lungs, right? So that's the biggest thing. That's what's killing a lot of people, because they're getting the acute respiratory disease and the damage of the lungs, and that's why they have to get ventilated. Some people are showing other symptoms like GI symptoms, maybe just a cough, and it may not even go all the way down deep into their lungs. So that's one of the reasons. And I think there's a study that shows that there are about 40 mutations of this virus.
I read that.
There may be some mutations, yeah. So that also may be why we're seeing the varying responses. But I think largely it is people's immunity.
Well, thank you so much.
And I would like to say, I'm doing Dr. Sandy's diet right now because summertime is right around the corner. We don't know when this country's going to reopen, but we do know when it reopens. It'll probably be in the middle of summer. I had got up to 196 sitting at home on quarantine, and I was working out, but I was just eating crazy. So I did her diet, and I lost 12 pounds in a week.
You did? Okay, good.
Yes.
But
yep.
keep in mind, I didn't even know that. But keep in mind, it's a healthy, because people are going to go on diets. I know, Envy, you said you're on a diet, but make sure it's
not a
healthy,
diet. I should say
right?
eating cleaner. I shouldn't say eating
cleaner.
I should say eating cleaner.
Right.
Yeah.
So, again, it's not, you don't want a calorie nutrition limiting diet necessarily. You want to eat clean and eat healthy, have a clean and healthy diet, because you do still want to be able to support your immune system. So the only things in terms of studies that really support fighting immunity, copper, zinc, turmeric, has been shown, vitamin C, and your B12. Now, the vitamin C is water soluble. So people are taking large amounts of vitamin C at one time. Make sure you take it throughout the day, because you pee it out. It's water soluble. You can get it in many different forms. You know, you can take it the fruit, you can take powder like Emergency, but just take it throughout the day. Zinc is also a good one, a good copper as well. Charlamagne's there's a prescription called Nicozole. I prescribe it to all my patients, actually, because it has anti-inflammatory benefits. And if it's anti-inflammatory, it's immune building. It's called Nicozole. It has turmeric, cumin, B12, folic acid, copper, garlic, a number of things in there. So that's another option.
I've been taking it for years. I swear by it.
Yeah. So.
Okay. Well,
give them your info, Doc, your Twitters and Instagram and all of that.
It's Dr. Natasha Sandy. It's the same for Twitter, same for Instagram, same for YouTube, and that's my website as well. The other thing people are complaining really quickly is about dry skin, and we can talk about that another time, but they're breaking out a lot. Make sure you wash your face morning and night. People are not washing their face. Sometimes their air filters, they haven't changed the filters in their homes. And so now they're in the house all the time. Their allergies, people are saying their allergies are acting up. Change your air filter. You want one that's a HEPA filter. So it gets a lot of the fine allergens. That's something to think about too. And if you haven't changed your filter, just change it anyway.
Okay.
Yeah, everyone, it's a tough time for everyone. But the silver lining is this. I think people are now realizing, more importantly, that to focus on their health, right?
Yes.
People, because you have people that are passing, that people were like, yo, that dude was healthy. He was a big dude, but we didn't know what his comorbidities was. He wasn't going to the doctor. He wasn't following up. So I think people are following up more. I also think people realize right now there's no medicine tablet that you can take really quickly. So they have to, what's the best way? Diet and eating healthy. And people are starting to pay attention to their diet.
Gotcha. Well, thank you, Doc, for checking in again.
No
Charlamagne, when's the last time you went to the doctor, had a finger up your butt?
A finger up my butt? I'm not 50 yet. I don't have to get a colonoscopy. What's it called, Doc?
No, he's talking
prostate
exam. I think
they do that.
You've had that, right?
Yeah, I don't got to do that till I'm 50.
I have. No, you got to do that 40, man. They started at 40, man.
It's at 40? I thought it was 50.
40, man, they start putting the finger in your butt.
You're a little bit behind.
You ain't do it yet?
No.
You
You gonna do it for me?
You live in Jersey. I'll be right.
Pull up
I'm on my
the
way.
day.
I'm coming out.